I'm Holly Constant.
And I'm Maddie Hockaday. We really love Parks and Rec, and we really love behind-the-scenes details.
So we're researching everything from DVD extras like deleted scenes and commentaries,
plus interviewing cast and crew who actually worked on the show.
We also bring on guests and friends to geek out about everything parks.
So join us, you tropical fish.
This is literally the best Parks and Rec rewatch podcast.
We're your park pals.
There's a park and some pals, and there's also therapy too.
All right, everyone. Welcome to Smallest Park. We're here finally. Oh my gosh, it's happening. Finally. I feel like it's been 800,000 years. Season 4, episode 8.
Yes.
It's wild. Okay, so this was written by Chelsea Peretti, who we already know and love. We've talked about her frequently, but she's probably known by most people for Brooklyn Nine-Nine, but she's also an amazing writer, and she actually makes a cameo in Parks as a reporter questioning Leslie in one of the episodes. I can't remember which one it was, but she comes back. And then she's also in a ton of stuff. She's in Big Mouth, Nick Kroll and John Mulaney's show, which is awesome. And then she wrote 8 episodes of The Kroll Show, which I did not know.
Oh, I didn't know that either. And honestly, before we did this podcast, I loved her for Brooklyn Nine-Nine, but had no idea that she wrote anything for Parks and Rec, which is cool. She also has stand-up that I've actually that I actually enjoy.
Yeah, she has a special out. I can't remember if it's on which one it's on, but it's on one of the streaming things, I think. And she also has 2 episodes on SNL on her IMDb for as a writer. So I don't know if she wrote the whole episode or if obviously probably not because sketches. But I'm not sure which sketches she did, but that's amazing. And then she also wrote the Parks episode Live Ammo, which is where Leslie tries to save the parks budget by like cutting everything down. So that's really cool. And then the thing I wanted to mention the most is that she has a movie out called First Time Female Director, which was selected for the Tribeca Film Festival, and she has so many cool cast members in it, and it looks so awesome. So I don't know how to watch it yet. I don't know if it's like out anywhere because it's at the film festival right now, but I think that'll be really awesome to watch.
Yeah. Oh, I would love to watch it. Yeah, I really like her. I feel like, I don't know if this is still true, but when at the time of her stand-up that she released several years ago, she was with Jordan Peele from Key and Peele.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, they're married.
Yeah, which I thought was so cute.
So cool.
I'm like, that's got to be a funny household.
I know. Or it's like not funny at all, and they're just funny outside.
They're just serious all the time together. Yeah.
And then it is directed by Nicole Holofcener, who we've talked about. She's truly an icon, writer and director, directed 4 episodes in total of Parks. The last time we saw her was the Eagleton episode with Lindsay Carlisle-Shea. And she also will direct Jerry's Retirement and the Pawnee Eagleton Tip-Off. So those are like super important episodes, I feel.
Those are great episodes. Yeah.
But she's done so much amazing work. She's done the movie Enough Said with Julia Louis-Dreyfus, which Nicole wrote. And she also got an Oscar for the screenplay of Can You Ever Forgive Me? Or nominated, I think. I don't know. I can't remember. Nominated. And that has Melissa McCarthy in it. Or no, not Melissa McCarthy. Is it Kathy Bates? Shoot, I forgot. It's one of those 2. But either way, she was nominated for an Oscar. She's also done Unbreakable Kimmy Schmidt, You Hurt My Feelings, which is also a new movie out with Julia Louis-Dreyfus, and so many things. So this is like a really cool, amazing team. I did message. Most of the time when they're of this caliber, they're agents and stuff and representatives are not listed, but Chelsea's was, so I messaged them, and obviously I was like, just shoot your shot, who cares? They probably won't message back, which they didn't, but I thought it was really interesting to be able to message them.
Yes, shoot your shot. I like it.
Anyway, so now I have summary written if we've got nothing else.
Yeah, I am good and ready to go. So here we go. Leslie is getting desperate for a relationship with Ben of any kind, to the point that she wants to use the smallest park as her grand gesture. Finally, Leslie will have to decide the fate of her relationship with Ben. At City Hall, Tom has his first assignment back in his new old job at the Parks Department, and Ron and April help Andy choose a college class to take.
Nice. You kind of forget that Tom ever left in this episode. I don't know.
You really do. Well, because also like we were seeing his life outside of the Parks Department, and he was still in the Parks Department bringing them swag and all this kind of stuff. So it's like he just fits right back in.
Yeah, totally. I did look up where the actual smallest park in America is, and I thought that
Me
we could start
too.
with that.
Yeah.
Well, you might have, because you're familiar-ish kind of with the area of Portland, because the smallest park is in Portland, Oregon.
Yes.
And
I've never been there.
So I don't know do you know if it's near you?
No. I have no
or
idea
near
where
where
it is.
you were,
It's-
I mean?
I think it's downtown. I lived there for the first 6 weeks of my life. So I don't really remember.
I don't know why I thought you were
very
older
much.
than that. Okay, never mind.
No, yeah, but I've been back because my grandparents live there and stuff, but I don't think I've ever visited the smallest park, but I think I saw that it was close to downtown, which would make sense.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's called Mill Ends Park. It's a tiny urban park consisting of one tree located in the median strip of Southwest Nadeau Parkway. I'm guessing is how you pronounce that. I'm not sure. But if there is an SW or NW, then usually it is downtown. I'm just going over because of like DC and New York and stuff have those.
Yeah.
So the park is a small circle, 2 feet across, with a total area of 452 square inches. And it's really funny because it did the acreage, and it's basically what Leslie says. It says in the episode, it's 0.00007205784 acres.
Yes, I love it. Yeah, it's so cute.
And I'm gonna
too.
post
We'll
this,
have to
but-
post. Yeah, I was gonna say we'll have to
I'm
post
gonna
a
post
picture.
it. But there's also oh, sorry, go ahead.
Oh no, you covered it.
Okay. Well, there's also, I Googled what are the 5 smallest parks in America, like 5 total. And I found a website, and they all seem to be, for the most part, in the Midwest, I feel. So I'll post that as well. I'll post that, and then I'll post the Mill Ends Park. But yeah, I just thought that was really interesting.
Nice. Do they all seem like what we would consider parks, like as kids, like where there's playgrounds and stuff, or are they like national parks?
I don't think so. It's more so like what Leslie's Park is, with like a tiny bench and like maybe a tree.
Okay. Nice. Because I Googled, I was doing some like research on that. And one park that came up was the Ohio State Park, Falls of the Ohio State Park, but that's in Indiana, interestingly enough.
Weird.
But it was like, it's one of the smallest parks, but it has 165 acres. And I'm like, smallest of what? Like national parks or what? So that's why I asked that, 'cause I don't know. I was like, 165 acres is not small to me.
And it is interesting of what it has to like do to be a park, because in some instances you would think like the median of a road is like essentially the same thing as what these parks are doing.
If it has plants,
but it's like a different process. So
yeah. Interesting. Okay.
yeah. And going back to your episode, I just had a note, or your summary. I just had a note that I feel like I forgot how many things actually happened in this episode. Like I was too consumed by excitement about Ben and Leslie that I was like,
I know.
oh, I forgot we have all these other storylines.
Oh yeah, and it switches back back and forth so quickly too. Between all 3 storylines. So
totally, it really does. Well, this episode starts with Chris coming in saying he wants Tom to redesign the park's logo, essentially choosing a new font. And it's really funny because Jerry is the number 3, not number 2, because I guess that's, just where he stands.
Yeah.
Even though there's only 2 of them, he's number 3.
Yeah, it made me think, like, if you were trying to rebrand and like come up with a new logo, it would make sense to me to have like a team of people. But like, if Chris really just wants him to choose a new font, why does that take more than one person?
Right. That's really true. But then everyone starts laughing because Chris, like, I guess Chris's reasoning is like you could learn a lot from him, and everyone thinks that is such a joke.
Right. Which is
also
sad for
what
Jerry.
A short cold open.
It is very short. It's also the logo that Chris holds up that is currently is the show's logo.
Oh, that's interesting. Yeah.
So I don't know if
they
that's
didn't change it. So
yeah.
That would have been
been
cool if they did that for like the next episode or something,
Yeah.
Because it is limited time, so it's not like they would have to do it for each one. But anyway, well, yeah. So now we're with Ben, Leslie, and Chris talking about a new park that Leslie's building, and she says it'll draw 5,000 visitors a year. And to me, that seems like a lot.
That's a lot. Because my question is, are we counting people who live there? Like who are just going to stop and take a seat on the bench? Or is
I
it
would
like...
think so.
Yeah. Okay. So that's a little bit more realistic to me than people going to Pawnee to see the smallest park.
Yeah, I don't know. I was like, maybe people have the like bucket list of the weirdest things or the biggest things, the smallest things. I don't know.
Yeah. Interesting. Interesting.
Yeah, I just thought that was a lot. But she says that the last remaining phone booths were torn down, and now she's making that little plot a park. And it got me thinking, I actually still have phone booths at my apartment building, like near the pools. And I wonder if they still work, because I very rarely see them.
Yeah, I was going to ask if you, because I forgot to look it up. I wanted to, but I forgot to. If phone booths like are still a thing. Because I see them, but do they like function? Can you call the operator from them?
Yeah, like when I look at the phone booths, like when I do see them, I mean, it looks like they're fully operable, but again, I don't know if they truly are. Maybe I should try it next time.
Yeah. You don't have to call anybody. Just like pick up the receiver and see if there's a dial tone.
Yeah, that's true. I just remember those commercials with Carrot Top that it was like such a huge deal. 1-800-CALL-ATT?
Yeah. It's so weird to me that there's like a generation younger than us that have no idea how they would use one of those.
Right.
You know? It's like everybody has cell phones.
Yeah, 100%. Which is better and more safe probably. But anyway, a whole other can of worms. So
yes.
Chris is asking if there's any community resistance, and Ben says no, it's like really a slam dunk. Like no one's complained. They don't even have to do an environmental impact report. Did you look up what that was? Because I did.
No, I did not, because I figured I understood what it was, but let's see.
Yeah, I mean, you do, truly. It's pretty standard, but I guess it was just more interesting to me that these things do have to be done in order to make sure that the park is actually a park. If it's a certain amount of acres or whatever. But basically, so there's an EIS, which is an environmental impact statement, and an EIR, which is an environmental impact report. They're two different things, but that's what she's talking about, the EIR. And they're documents that are required to comply with the National Environmental Policy Act and the California Environmental Quality Act. And basically the purpose is to, I'm just going to read this, but basically the purpose is to like make sure that it's not like pollution or something crazy that's going to affect the environment. But it's to analyze and disclose a project's potential effects on the natural and human environment and identify mitigation measures and alternatives to avoid significant effects. So, and the EIR, which is what she wants, is prepared when the project is a state or local jurisdiction, and then the EIS is federal. And if you want both, you can do that too. So yeah, and it does like a broad range of environmental impacts like vegetation, wildlife, cultural recreation, air quality. Like if this is gonna destroy like the deer population, or like are you gonna have to knock down a bunch of trees, or is it gonna kill the trees if you put something here? Which I thought that was really interesting. I had never knew about that.
That is also really interesting.
Because it always seemed like such a, I mean, like we know from the first season, like it always seems like such a huge thing just to even build the park or to like get the plot of land. So I didn't think about all the other extra like red tape and stuff that you have to go through to make sure that it's like legal and legitimate, you know?
Right. But it makes sense, right? Like we want to make sure that we're preserving the natural habitat. We want to make sure that the community isn't negatively impacted, all that kind of stuff. So it makes sense.
Yeah. But anyways, this is where Chris says that they're like a dream team, and you can totally see both of their reactions and the differences in their reactions of Leslie being so excited and Ben's like, oh, okay, I guess we're a dream team, whatever. You know what I mean?
Leslie's face, oh my gosh, when she looks at Ben, she just still has I understand why he can't have that friendship with her because of the way she looks at him. Like he hangs the moon, you know? It's like there's just such love when she gazes at him. So I would find that hard.
Well, we talked about this a lot in the last episode, but something that I realized that I didn't actually kind of like, I don't know, just put language or thought to was that Leslie keeps saying that she can just be friends, but as you see, especially in the last episode, she can't. She really can't. And at this point, she's just fooling herself, and she's doing a good job of it, like for sure. You know what I mean? Yeah. But like, this is not sustainable for just a friendship. You know what I mean?
Right. Well, yeah. And she's not fooling Ben, and she's not fooling Anne. Like she's really just kind of lying to herself.
Right.
Yeah.
Well, now I'm at where Andy's looking at classes if you are.
Yes. We are looking at classes, and he gets very excited for the crash course because I'm assuming he thinks, I'm assuming he thinks he gets to go crash.
I know, like
on
crashed
stuff.
a car or something. Yeah.
Yeah.
But yeah, he says he's trying to improve himself, which is nice. And you can take a bunch of audits and trials to see which one you like best. Ron is saying to challenge your horizons, or challenge yourself rather, broaden your horizons. And April says, like, just get an easy A. And my thing is, like, I don't know. I guess I was just thinking that he was taking this, like, just one class. And in that case, I was like, why are you going to waste your money then if you're only taking one class to get an easy A? Like, that's not, like, you can't just put one class on your resume. I guess you could, but then I was like, maybe he's trying to see which class he likes, and then he can, like, go on to, get his, what is it called, associates or whatever, if he feels like it. But for this one class, I was like, why would you do that?
Yeah, and that's the vibe I'm getting, is that it's not necessarily that he's going for his associates currently. It's that he wants to see what he's interested in, and we already know that he's interested in guitar. So if you're going to do a guitar class, find something that's going to challenge you, cuz I struggle with April's reasoning of, like, just get the easy A, but as we see, he's just going to be so bored the whole time
and wasting your money.
Yeah, such a
But
waste
it also,
of money.
again, just shows how, like, I don't know, naive and immature April still is to a certain degree.
Yeah. Well, and I think I find a lot of pride in Andy, like, in this, because he realizes, like, this isn't what I need to do.
Right.
You know?
Totally.
So,
yeah.
Anyway, I'm jumping
100%.
ahead a little bit with that, but I think.
No, that's true. I mean, yeah, totally get it.
Yeah.
Okay. So they're still deciding, and then this is where Ben comes into his office where Leslie is waiting, and I think I had to, there's a couple of moments where I had to, like, pause it to make notes, and this was one of them where I paused it, and you look at Ben's face, and Adam Scott does such a good job of, like, oh, I'm excited that you're here, but also I hate that you're here because I'm gonna have to talk to you, and, like, I can't be with you, and I just think he did such a good job.
Yeah, I feel like with him, he's always in character.
Mm-hmm.
And it's just very well
and it's so sad.
perceived.
He said he's going to cut down time on parks and start working with other departments because it just bums him out being with her. And, like, to be completely fair, I mean, again, I know that I probably wouldn't have this idea maybe if I haven't been, like, analyzing it so much as we have. But, like, she said in the last episode, I've been nothing but straightforward with him. Ben has been nothing but straightforward with her too. Like, every single episode, he's like, I can't do this. Not smallest park, this end of the world or whatever. He's like, I can't do this. Next episode, I don't think I can do this. This episode, I have to cut the cord.
Yeah.
And, like, Leslie's just not getting it. So I think that it's really smart for him to, like, make this next step, because I think that right now they're just talking about it and he just, like, can't deal with it.
Yeah.
So, like, this is the way to make sure that it doesn't happen. You know what I mean?
Right. And he's just protecting his heart, like we talked about last time. And it is sad that it's resorted to this, but you're right. He's been completely upfront with her. I wrote down that I'm like, he's setting his boundaries again. And this is the thing. He set the boundary. She crossed it. So he had to set it again, and she crossed it. So here's the final straw. Like, I can't even be around you at work because
you're right.
Like, I can't handle this. Like, the way that
right.
You're still not respecting the boundary I've set.
Yeah. Well, and even in that, it was funny because even in the last episode when they make their little treaty thing to have one fun conversation at work for 5 minutes, even that, like, by the end of the episode, I'm like, that's not going to work.
No.
And this is where I keep going where, like, Leslie, you are kidding yourself. And I get why you're doing it because you're so in love, and we'll see that.
Yeah.
But, like, it's not gonna happen, baby.
Yeah, you're just hanging on, and I feel like you're almost hurting yourselves more if you're putting that little 5-minute conversation in, because you're still giving yourselves hope.
Right. 100%. But it is really, like, sad too, because I mean, this whole thing is sad, but especially, like, when she has her little look of, like, because he was like, oh yeah, I was looking for you, and she's like, oh yeah, and gets all excited, and then he, like, brings her right back down, and then she gets mad and steals all his pens and pencils.
Yes. Yes, the childishness that's coming out. That I wasn't here for the last episode, but that was my thesis for the last episode is
totally
is just childishness from both of them.
Yeah, 100%. Well, now we're looking at fonts for the logo, if you're there.
Yes.
And Jerry is like giving such a boring presentation about how Comic Sans, it just spells fun.
Yeah.
And it does, but also like, shut up.
Yeah.
And also, I love that Donna's doing her makeup in the background. I just love that she's just there, like being herself.
Yes, I love it. Because she's got like slightly participating, but like not at the same time.
I still am so upset that like she's not more involved in these episodes. Jerry seems to be getting more attention even than her. And I'm just like, I don't get it. So I'm really interested to see like the first episode where she has more lines, or like you can really tell that her character is being, up front,
Yeah, because she's just being underutilized at this point to me.
Totally.
Yeah, because she's so funny.
Yeah.
Yeah, love her.
But Tom wants to do a top to bottom makeover of the parks branding, like make it a sexy vibe, which, makes sense. It is boring. He wants to bring that in and to like his assignment. And I'm just like, okay, well, we'll see how that goes.
Yeah. Well, and I think we see such a juxtaposition between Jerry and Tom here, right? Like Jerry's like, that's not what Chris told us to do. Like we should just stick in this box of what Chris told us to do. And Tom's like, no, like we need to shoot above and be better. And I think you see Jerry's in this job until he retires. Yeah. And Tom, we see kind of skyrocket. And yes, does he fall sometimes? For sure. Because he's taking those risks. But it's just interesting to see that dynamic.
Yeah. And sorry, I cut you off. Go ahead.
Oh, no, you're good. That was my last thought.
Oh, okay. Sorry. I'm trying to be better about that. I thought I was good at it, but then I'm not.
No, you're good.
I'm still.
Some of it I think is lagging too with the recording.
I agree.
So,
yes.
It's not you.
Okay. Well, I was just going to say, and I'll get to it a little bit later too, but not weirdly, I mean, I see why I felt this way, but like I was not on Jerry's side this entire episode. I was kind of mad at him, to be honest. But that's also maybe a generational thing because of,
personality thing though too, I think.
That too.
Because I mean, hopefully most of you know Holly enough to this point in the podcast that she's not a do the bare minimum person. So I think that's why, because I felt the same way. I was like, that feels like I'm not doing my job if I'm just doing the bare minimum, like to scrape by. So I think that's it too, is like you just as a person, you're like, that's not what I would do.
Right. Totally.
So,
but anyhow, well, now we're at the community college, taking some classes, and I asked Shauna where this was filmed. I emailed our friend Shauna, the camera operator. I love her so much. Shauna Hagen, shouts to you. And she said she thinks this was at College of the Canyons up in Valencia, which is actually near Magic Mountain, which is Six Flags for those of you that don't know. But it's about like, I don't know, I would say 40 minutes ish away from LA. And it sounds like they film a lot of stuff in Valencia, especially for parks, but I'm sure they've filmed a lot of other stuff up there as well. But I asked her because online it says that scenes were filmed at UCLA's Freud Playhouse School of Theater, Film, and TV. But I don't know what episode that was for, so I'm sure they shot something there, but I don't know if it was this because I looked up pictures of both. The one that Shauna said, because Shauna also wasn't like mega sure, but she like was trying to remember. So I looked up the pictures of College of the Canyons and UCLA, and College of the Canyons looks so much more like what this episode was for. Okay. So I don't know if maybe UCLA was interior shots, but she said it looks, she said she remembers it being interiors too, probably. So I don't know. But I think that's really interesting. So we'll have to look that up.
UCLA could have also been used for like the debates for city council.
Oh yeah.
For the auditorium.
Fair. Totally. Yeah. So I'll definitely have to like, go back to that. But I think College of the Canyons is a fair assumption. Is that because they've shot a lot of other stuff in that area?
Is that north of LA?
Yes.
Okay. Just because I noticed like some like changing leaves and stuff in the background, which is a very nice touch. I didn't know if that happens in LA or like close to LA, or if that was something they kind of added in.
Yeah, they always try to find like the one street. Remember that? I can't remember which episode that was, but like the one street that doesn't have palm trees in it. Or
right. I think when they're canvassing, right?
Yeah. Oh yeah.
Yeah.
Yep. She also wrote, I'm just going to read her email. If you see in the background of the tighter shot of Andy and Ron in April, over Andy's shoulder, the sign reads Lorenzo de la Rosa Hall, which I did see. Oh. And Lorenzo, she said Lorenzo was a real guy. He was our key set PA that season, which is production assistant.
Nice.
And the art department, she said, the art department was always doing fun stuff like that to include names of the crew members and signage they had to put up for the show to cover existing signage. But I think that's so cool because I remember they're talking about how they used to do that in the office with like awards and stuff that they would have in like on the walls or whatever.
Yeah.
But so shouts to Lorenzo for getting your name in the show.
What a deal.
I know. All right. Well, now we're at Intro to Guitar, if you are, the actual class.
Intro to guitar, yes. And Andy is going to lose his mind.
I know. He already knows everything. He's so bored.
Yeah. But he tries to cover it up. He's like, I know nothing about the Gortar.
The Gortar. Oh my God. It's so
Weirdo.
dumb. This guitar teacher is played by actor Breon Gorman, and she has been in Star Trek Insurrection, Heart of Dixie, Longmire. She just finished a movie called Pure O, which I don't know that, but it's on IMDb. This other movie called Texas Rangers and a bunch of other things. She was also born in DC, which I thought that was interesting because, I'm familiar with the DC area. So
Yes.
But I don't know. I have such weird thoughts. Like they decide to do some more classes and Ron leaves and says but for the record, you would make an incredible brunette. And I'm just like, that Ron is such a good, I just learned this term negging. Have you heard this term?
No.
It basically just means backhanded compliments or backhanded negative comments. And Ron it's a thing kind of in the dating world right now. It always has been, but I guess like that term, I don't know if that's been in the zeitgeist forever, but it's such a, like people are so aware of it now, how Andy in The Office rather is like saying when Kevin wants to date the one lady,
Yeah.
which
Which
your dress
pisses
would
me
be
off.
much prettier if it was like this color or whatever
Yeah.
he says,
Yeah.
like that's negging. And I'm just like, Ron, you're better than that. I know you think that you're being like nice, but I don't know. I hated it. And it wasn't that deep. It's not that deep, but I was just frustrated with him.
Well, and her face looks like she can't tell if she should be,
I know.
like feel complimented or flattered, or if she should be like, what? Why?
Why did you do this?
Yeah.
But anyhow, so now they're going to try some other classes. But before we do that, Leslie and Anne are talking, and this scene breaks my heart for Anne.
It really does. And this is one moment in the show where I feel like you and I don't match the relationship.
Mm-hmm.
Because the thing that pisses me off is the silently support me thing.
Yeah.
Because there are moments where that might be appropriate. Like, hey, this is their mistake that they need to make. But like the amount of times that Anne and Leslie have had this conversation, like there's no more silently supporting.
Mm-hmm.
Like there needs to be a foot down situation.
Yes. Yeah. Well, I mean, I was going to say that too. They've had this conversation so many times. And for those of you who need to be reminded, they're in the courtyard. Leslie is spiraling again, and her plan is to drag out the park project for as long as possible. So Ben and her can just keep working together and keep that part of their relationship. And like the thing is that Leslie knows what Anne's going to say, and Leslie knows that Anne is right, which is why she keeps shutting her down. You know what I mean?
Right.
So it's just like really, I mean, it is funny. Anne's facial expressions are hilarious, but like when you really think about this from like a friendship perspective, I definitely I haven't done this like when I'm giving advice or anything, or when I'm listening or anything like that, but I have like let somebody say like their piece, and then I've been like, nope, I don't want that. Nope. But it's always like something stupid. It's not as like big as this, I feel. You know what I mean?
Yeah, I think it's not just simple advice. It's like Leslie's digging a hole for her heart, and she's also digging a hole for Ben's heart.
Yeah.
And it's just, it's so difficult.
Ugh, it's so awful. I wanted to tell you though, there is a deleted scene, or maybe it's an alternate scene, I don't know. But Leslie goes into Anne's office to talk to her about this, like before they go to the courtyard, and Stuart is there. Remember how we were always like, does Stuart ever come back?
Oh my gosh, that's funny.
But her office mate Stuart is there, and it's interesting because he has the line like, "We're in the middle of something important." And Leslie was like, well, how important could it be? Like, whatever. And then they leave. But like, what are they working on together? Is Stuart in the health department too?
I can't remember what his job was, or if we ever even knew.
I don't feel like we knew.
Yeah.
I'll have to go back, but I don't think we knew really.
Yeah. Interesting. So, it would make
that
sense that they like work alongside each other if they have to share an office.
Yeah.
Huh.
So Anyhow, so she says that the park will now open November 12th, 2070.
Which is miserable. If you look at how miserable they are in this 20-minute episode, like how miserable would their lives be if this went to 2070?
My God.
My gosh.
Well, speaking of dragging it out and whatever, we're at this public forum and Ben hates this. I love his facial expression throughout this whole entire thing.
Yes, I agree. I also am looking at all these people and I'm like, I'm interested. Have you ever been to a public forum?
I think they had a Zoom town hall one time that I went to, but most public forums, we talked about this on the podcast one time, most public forums are during the day and I can't go.
That's the thing. I'm like, there's so many people here. How do people have time to show up to this?
I don't know. You know. If I find one, I would go now that I like don't care really about like leaving my job during the day. like I would go, especially if I could go for just an hour and then come back. I mean, that's a lunch break. So I would do that. But I haven't looked up where and when they are.
Yeah. Yeah. So. I guess I'm just surprised at the number of people.
Yeah, you're right, though. I mean, every town hall, there seems to be so many people there. So, I mean, and I think this is more relatable if you're in a smaller town, because my mom will talk about this as well. Like, I think that they are definitely more like retired folks, more people that might not have day jobs kind of thing, because they've been in this town forever. So, I don't know.
Yeah.
But it's a good point. And there were so many deleted scenes here too, where she's trying to drag it out, and like where she starts off, where she starts off and she says, "Where's the fire? Like, let's get to know each other first." She starts it off in the deleted scenes about like, we could talk about licorice, who likes it, who hates it. We could talk about gun control. She says there's, has anyone seen that movie Babel with Brad Pitt? And then Mel in the deleted scene says that movie has too many stories, and it like he says it in a mean way, like in his Mel red face man way. And he also like in the deleted scenes after the public forum has ended, he's in like, which also side note, I didn't even know that Babel was a movie. I Googled that. Did you know that movie?
No.
Yeah, there's a Brad Pitt movie. I'm very confused. But anyway, so there's that.
It exists.
But it exists. In the deleted scenes, though, at the end, it's like Mel's in a face-off with Ben, like fighting with each other. And he's like getting really mad about the movie, I think, in this deleted scene. And I just thought it was so hilarious that they have that.
That's funny. That's about what usually makes people mad in Pawnee.
You said what?
That's about the level of thing that usually makes people mad in Pawnee, right? It's like a movie.
Nothing crazy.
Yeah.
But by the way, if you haven't listened to Mel Cowan's episode, please go back and listen to him. He was like one of our first interviews, and he's amazing. So not a red-faced man, which is amazing as well.
Which shows how great of an actor he is.
Mm-hmm. I think he's still doing his improv shows in LA. I messaged him so that I could promote it, but I haven't heard back. So either way. But yeah, so she asked the first guy, like, tell about his childhood. Where's the fire? There are two, I don't know. There are two people on IMDb that I was not sure who played which, but I'm pretty positive that this guy is named Jeff Holman and his character name is Lou. And I'm pretty positive because there's two guys on IMDb, and the other guy, I don't know if he's even in the show. I didn't see any deleted scenes with him. I don't know, but they look very similar, and I think they both look different now, so I couldn't really piece it together, but I'm going to tell you about both of them, and we'll go from there. I did actually get a message back from Jeff Holman, and he said he had a really funny story about improvising with Amy Poehler, so I will definitely be sure to play that on our recap for the next episode, and also confirm what exact character he played. But anyhow, Jeff has been in 5 episodes of Yellow Jackets. Have you heard of that show?
I haven't.
It's like kind of scary-ish, thrillery. I don't know. I'm scared to watch it because of that, but he's in there. It's really popular, so I'm sure it's good.
Yeah, I can't do
Grey's Anatomy.
I can't do the scary TV shows.
Yeah.
The scary movies have an end date for me, hour and a half. I get out of it. I think the TV shows are a little bit more difficult for me.
Yeah, and it's not even like scary. I think it's more thrillery, but it's still like scary vibes.
Okay.
I still haven't watched The Last of Us because of that very reason. I'm scared. So I don't know. But you've seen those, right?
Last of Us? No, that's something we want to watch though, because Connor said it's really good, and I love Pedro Pascal. So
I know.
I love him so much.
Scary.
Is it? Okay, so I didn't even know that.
Yeah, it's scary.
It's good to know.
The third episode Nick Offerman is in, people say that it's not as scary and like you should just watch it for Nick Offerman's performance, which like I'll try. But anyway, but yeah, it's a scary movie because it's a show, because it is based off the video game of the same name, I believe, that is about the like a disease or whatever taking over the world, and they have to escape, and it's like this apocalyptic world, and it's very much like you could think about COVID, you could think about any number of diseases that this could be like, you know what I mean? So anyhow, but I think there's a story, as opposed to like, sorry horror fans, but like, you know, as opposed to like Saw or Insidious or something where it's like just jump scares, you know? Anyhow, sorry, that was a tangent. So yes, Jeff has been in 5 episodes of Yellow Jackets, Grey's Anatomy, an episode of Minx, which I love, and I'm glad that that's going to be renewed soon. He was also in Being the Ricardos, which I still need to watch, and a bunch of things. But yeah, so he is one of the citizens, and then we have our next, oh my God, racist lady asking if there's going to be basketball at the park, because that brings out a certain kind of person.
I'm so glad that they don't let her say it.
I know. It's so freaking well done as far as like how these people really act, you know?
Oh yeah. And the side look she gets. I'm
just gonna come out and say it. I'll tell you what kind of person I don't want. Oh my God. And then the look of the lady that the camera catches, of the black lady going like, what the fuck are you talking about? Yeah.
Great.
Oh my God. But that lady is played by Brenda Ballard, and her character name is Rose, which is so cute. I love the name Rose. And she was super funny, super realistic, like I said. She is also someone who has the same manager as me, so they messaged her, and we'll see if she gets back to me. But either way, I really appreciated her performance. And she's in this movie called We Broke Up, an episode of Barry, which Barry is so good.
Love Barry.
I need to catch up on the last season.
Same here.
She was also in Superstore, iCarly. She's been in a bunch of shows, so it's great.
Yeah. Good for her.
But then Leslie tries to drag it out and make this a thing and says, you know what? You bring up a good point. Let's talk about intolerance. Oh, my God.
Oh, Leslie.
Woof.
It's like it's not even subtle.
No. Because everybody
really
knows who she's talking about or what she's talking about.
Yeah. Boy.
Anyhow. Now I'm back at the college if you are.
I am. And Andy is about to be greatly disappointed as he goes into Intro to Lasers.
And they don't even use lasers in the class. He's
It's
not
just
even
the
using
theory.
a laser pointer.
Yeah.
Just the theory.
And
I had no idea that actually stands for that, you know, the
I
light
didn't
amplification.
Yeah.
By stimulated emission of radiation.
Yeah.
Crazy.
Yeah. I didn't know that either until I watched this show the first time. But this has one of my favorite lines that I quote quite often. When Andy says, one of the most significant bummers of my lifetime is when I find out like bad news or something like that. I'll use that, and I will say it in the exact inflection that he uses.
Oh my God, that's so funny. I'll have to start saying that.
Yeah,
because there's many a time.
Yes.
I did a tiny little deep dive on lasers.
Went down the rabbit hole.
I was like, seriously though, and oh my God, I'm gonna post this, you guys. I'm going to post this link that I found. NASA has this amazing link explaining lasers to kids. And I think it's a kids section. But like, and really the only thing that I think is like kid, quote unquote, is like the colorful vibe aesthetic and pictures of the website. Because the actual content, I don't feel like is that easy to understand regardless of your age. So I'm just saying, but I'm going to read all these things. So, it really is so much more scientific, especially, you know, more so than Andy is thinking. Cause I'm really just imagining that Andy's like, we're just going to get a bunch of lasers and like goof off with them.
Yeah. Do a laser show on the wall.
Exactly. But, okay. The best thing that I learned, and this is why it was a mini deep dive, because again, I would love someone who is more of an expert to explain this to me. But what was interesting to me is that light travels in waves, which I think I knew in some regard, but it was nice to just be reminded of that because you don't think about that, but light travels in waves, and each, light has a different wavelength. Like each, color of light specifically has a different wavelength. Like sunlight is going to have a different wavelength than like blue light or whatever. And they aren't equal. But lasers, what they do is they made all the wavelengths of all the lights the same wavelength so that it's really compact and can be really pinpointed and narrow and can travel longer distances. So like if you see the frequency, this is the great thing about the pictures, which I'll post if you want to take a look in the show notes. But like the frequencies of like sunlight are very peaks and valleys, and lasers are very tiny, tight ones. And like it's like a bunch of them. And so that's why they can travel longer and be way more pinpointed as opposed to like wider, if that makes sense to anyone. So I thought that was really interesting.
That is interesting. Yeah, I'll look forward to seeing the pictures. That's pretty cool.
Yeah.
This is what Andy needs though. Like
Yeah.
I think he needs something bright and colorful. He needs that kind of
Totally.
class.
Yes, and this professor does a really good job of making it kind of boring. So,
Yeah.
so
Yeah.
it does not like make him want to stay in it, I feel.
Which is fair.
Yeah. Especially if he's not like doing anything else scientific or, you know what I mean? Because I feel like a lot of people are probably in this class, yeah, maybe for the interest, but also because they're probably doing some sort of STEM like major or something, you know?
Right. Yeah. Makes
So,
sense.
But this professor of the laser class is named Keith Sellen Wright in real life, and he has super long hair now. Again, I had to be like, wait, is that really him? But it is. He still looks like a professor, I would say, but he more like a philosophy professor almost, like kind of a long hair, glasses, and Birkenstocks vibes, if that if I can paint a picture. But he was in Shameless, Alias, Crazy Ex-Girlfriend, 6 episodes of Scandal, which I did watch that show, so I need to go back. 2 episodes of Veep, a bunch of things, but a lot of shows that I actually know. So good job to him.
Nice.
But then this is again where we're just learning what makes them work, not actually, you know, playing with the lasers or using the lasers. So very
Right.
sad.
Poor Andy.
I know. Well, now we're back at figuring out the font branding of parks, if you are.
Yes.
And Tom wants the Parks Community Center to be an Apple store.
Yeah. It's gone like overboard at this point. So there's a happy medium between Tom and Jerry, and Tom does eventually find it, but we're still currently in the we're over dreaming situation.
Yes, 100%. Yeah, because that's not going to happen. Like, you know, especially the Apple Store. I could see making the community center better, but, you know. So, all right. Well, now we're back at the public forum, and I love this line so much. And I said this in our interview, but Mel Cowan.
Yes.
No, I'm not. I'm not always up in arms about something.
Even his
Leslie's trying to egg
response
him on.
is
It's so
red-faced.
good. And he's
It's
like,
so
there we
good.
go. Keep going. And Ben's like, okay, we're done. Bye. You know, whatever. And I thought it was so funny that she says that, you know, she held a bike rack public forum that went 7 hours. What kind of questions would you be asking about that?
I just don't even know.
Oh, I mean, it makes sense from the other public forums we've seen, I guess. But
Right.
I was just like, what the heck? Like, I would be, Leslie's not in the right here, but I would be frustrated too if, like, the one time I need them.
Right. It's like,
what?
yeah, I understand her frustration for sure.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, now we're back at Andy moving on to another class and making that decision by his favorite way, which is at random.
Which I love, because I'm like, wait, I'm going to make this choice for me randomly.
I'm going to make a really big decision, logical, and it's not at all. But
It
like
works.
we talked about, if he's just going for one class and not like to complete a major or something like that, I think that's a fine way to figure it out.
As long as you find it interesting, because I think if he had sat in that lasers class, he would have been so bored out of his mind too. Like he wouldn't have gotten anything out of it. And I think I just love what we see when the editing here is so good too, because he just points and then you're in the class. And it's so well done because you see how captivated he is. April's captivated. Ron's captivated. You're just like, all right, this is it.
I know, everybody loves it.
Yeah, it's great.
Well, the class that he selects at random is Intro to Women's Studies, and we're talking about Joan of Arc and feminism and burning at the stake, which April wants to be.
Yes.
Oh my God, I am reading this book called On Our Best Behavior, The 7 Deadly Sins and the Price That Women Pay to Be Good. It is so amazing because it talks about like the whole premise is basically what women do or what society has kind of led women into believing and how they need to be like good girls essentially. But in an academic way, it explains kind of how the patriarchy started in like a digestible way, and not like regardless of what you think about feminism. I think it was just interesting to like see how this kind of started in our society. And woof, religion, organized religion, the Catholic Church really fucked us. Like, it's crazy. And also, did you know that the 7 deadly sins are not even in the Bible? Like, if you read it, it is not in the Bible. It actually was created by a monk.
I guess.
That was like putting terms to how he felt about it.
Okay.
There are sins. There are the 10 Commandments.
Yes. So the 10 Commandments, yeah. The 7 deadly sins, I guess I never like thought about like looking into it. I just always took to heart the 10 Commandments more so than the 7 deadly sins. But I guess I never really put together that people were saying that the 7 deadly sins were from the Bible.
Yeah, they're saying that it's like based on religion. Like, you know, like don't be envious of other people. Don't be a glutton. Don't be prideful. You know, that kind of thing.
Yeah.
And it's not even religious.
Oh my gosh.
And I think it's really interesting. So that's the first thing. But the reason I'm bringing this up is because she talks about Joan of Arc in the show. And one of the other things they're talking about was kind of like, and it's not a deep dive. I'd like to do more research on this, but she talks about the history of burning at the stake and witchcraft and stuff. And really, witchcraft was just healers, like women making poultices and like, you know, medicinal things and like plants and stuff. And people thought it was like heresy because like God is the only one that's supposed to heal you, essentially. And I mean, people would still go there to the people to get healed or whatever. But like, if you have ever watched Outlander, they talk about it a lot as well. But that was where like witchcraft, quote unquote, started. And that's why like the cauldron was a thing, because the women would mix their mixtures to heal people of their medical issues, like headaches and things like that, in the cauldron over the fire. And you're just like,
God forbid them try to be scientific. It's fine.
I know, it's crazy. And apparently it was even worse in Europe, which was wild. Like Salem didn't even really scratch the surface of how massive the burning at the stakes and stuff were.
It's insane.
It's wild. But anyway, so this class is going well. Professor Linda Lonigan is played by Danielle Basutti. I don't know how to pronounce her name. I'm sorry. But she's a huge mega video game voice actor.
Oh, that's cool.
She played Freya. Yeah, she played Freya in God of War Ragnarok, which is a PlayStation game, which is amazing. And she's done a ton of stuff with, well, I mean, it looks like it on IMDb anyway, like motion capture and like, or putting dots over your face or whatever, like where they can get the likeness of your face and stuff to put in the video game, which is so cool.
That is very cool.
But she's also been in Madden, apparently, the Lego Movie 2 video game. Like, she's been in a ton of stuff, which I'm not really sure exactly what she plays, but yeah, and she's also been in a lot of music videos because she's also a musician. She was in Insidious Chapter 2, speaking of which I totally forgot that I wrote that before saying that. True Jackson VP, which is a Nickelodeon show. And she also played a woman named Joan in the OC, apparently, for a couple episodes. And right now I can't place it. I tried to look up some pictures because I definitely watched the seasons that she was on, but I just don't remember that.
Yeah, it's not. Sorry, I'm trying to think back to where I would see her in there. I have no idea.
But anyway, she was also a UCB alum, so she's definitely an improviser, which is great. And her birthday was October 1st, so happy birthday.
Oh, happy birthday.
We were recording this on October 7th, so it'll be a little time capsule. Anyhow, okay, now I'm back at the smallest park where Leslie's talking to a bunch of citizens, if you are.
Yes, and she's creating more moments for me to be upset.
I know, she's saying all these crazy events are going to be going on and making a huge problem out of this like totally non-problematic thing.
Which, if you
sucky.
think about it, she set the precedent with the whole comment she made at the forum. How often in her job does she not get pushback from the community where her job just goes smoothly? And this is one opportunity for her job to just go smoothly. And she's like, you know what? No.
I gotta fuck with it.
I gotta fuck this up.
Oh my God.
Oh, Leslie.
I know. This is where someone's listed on IMDb, but I am not sure who it is because I don't know who this is. But I thought it was a different guy, the one guy at the public forum versus the guy at the park, but I think they're the same guy. They're definitely the same person.
Okay.
But I don't know who this guy is, but he's listed on IMDb, so I'm going to say it. And if he's not in the show, I'm very sorry. But his name is Paul Sizemore, and he has been in Double Duty, The Colony, Firecracker, and some other things. I think he might have been one of the citizens, but I just don't know which citizen. But his last thing on IMDb for acting was in 2015, so not sure if he's doing like commercials, which aren't listed there, or what. But that's Paul.
Thank you, Paul, for your contribution.
I do like Leslie's apron.
Yeah, it is cute.
It's cute.
Yeah, it's been a cute outfit this whole day.
Yeah.
And she just took her jacket off and made it a little bit more cash.
Yep. And she's like, what can you do? Glad you asked. I have some things.
I have some ideas.
Oh, God. Now we have Tom still trying to rebrand the Parks Department, if you are there.
Yep.
And I don't know, Jerry has this really bad moment, I think. Like this is where I was like, really, Jerry? Because Tom says he's a dreamer and Jerry just wants to be this drone and says like weekends are for dreaming. Like, didn't dreaming get you in trouble with your last job? And like, honestly, this is where, again, it's not meant to be that deep, but like dreaming, Jerry doesn't get it because dreaming is not what did it. It was like the poor business management that did it, really.
Yeah.
I mean, I get that. Sure, a park ranger reality show is not what we're going for here.
Yeah.
But that's not the same thing, and that's not what he means by dreaming,
Right. Yeah, I have written that Jerry's just bumming me out.
Mm-hmm.
I think it makes me really wonder, did he ever have like a dream and he just let it go?
Yeah, that's a great question. Did Jerry ever have a dream for the Parks Department?
Yeah, because
or just for his career in general.
Yeah, for anything, right? I mean, because I think we're just seeing this bummed out he's usually such a positive person, and even when everybody's putting him down, right? But he's just so it's so depressing. Like that he's like, no, you're not supposed to dream here. You're not supposed to go anywhere. You're supposed to do what you have to do. And you go home, and then that's where you can basically be yourself, right? Because we're all dreamers.
And this is the generational thing that I'm seeing, the generational gap, because, and I don't know if that was such a big deal when this came out, but now especially that is so not what our age and especially the ones after us are thinking. Because if you're not able to like feel like you're contributing in some higher purpose, and I know I do this, like what are we even doing here? But so many people who I would say are 55 plus are just like, this is what we were told to do. You go get the job, you get your retirement, you have your kids, you buy the house. It's like very linear, you know what I mean? And it's not very obtuse and like, not obtuse in a bad way, but you know what I mean? Like it's not very floaty or like you can have both. So it is really interesting to see Jerry's side of it of like, this is what I do to get through the day. And it is really sad. Like I want to die. I do want to die on my job doing the same thing every day.
Right?
Like what?
Yeah. He's more following the formula, the equation of what's been laid out in front of him.
Yeah. And I mean, I'm jumping ahead a little bit, but like when Tom says, okay, I guess I'll just like go home to my beautiful children. Like that's something that I think Jerry holds on to a lot. I think a lot of people do. It's like they want to do the job so they can go home immediately to be with their family or do whatever they want to do. So I think that's kind of, layered in that sense too.
Yeah, for sure.
But anyway, I just was like, no, Tom just didn't know how to manage a fucking business, but he had the right dream.
Yeah, because we talked about this. It could have been so successful.
Yeah.
If he hadn't done this, and this,
Yeah, and if John Ralphio maybe wasn't a part of it. I don't know.
Yeah.
I mean, Tom was a big part of it too. We know this, but...
Yeah.
Also, this was one of the times when I accidentally paused it after Tom sits down. And I don't know if it was on purpose, but his face, the way that he's sitting is the same as in the picture of like him holding the tiny espresso cup or whatever, like that very pensive thought. And I was like, I don't know if that was on purpose, but it looks good.
Yeah. It's a good look on him.
Yeah. Okay. So now we're at the smallest park where people are picketing and protesting, and I thought that this was very timely because of all the strikes happening right now. Like I said, this is happening October 7th. The writer's strike is over, but the SAG strike is not, which is why you will be hearing this 800,000 months after.
Yeah.
After the fact. But I have to say, dude, like the auto workers are on strike as well, and Kaiser people are on strike. I am obsessed with all these strikes. I am so obsessed with people like drawing their fucking boundaries and being like, no, I can't do it. Like, and I won't do it because I deserve this. And also, not only do I deserve this, the patients deserve this and the customers deserve this. You know what I mean? And like, I know a lot of people, especially like, even when I talk to my mom about it, she's like, I just don't get how they're paying their bills. And I'm like, that's how bad it is, that they're willing to, you know, take a step back from their health insurance and their bills because it's not going to change or get better if they don't do something, you know? So I'm obsessed and I just stand with everybody that's striking right now.
Love it.
But anyway, so I don't know if I stand with these people.
Yeah.
This is a fake strike.
Yeah, this is fabricated for sure.
I mean, if it was true, maybe, but Leslie made all this up. So I love these signs, though. They are freaking hilarious. God hates small parks, no small parks. Like, oh my gosh, it's so funny. And I love Leslie's line here of like, it only takes one nut job to get people going. And I'm like, yeah, it does. It does only take one nut job. But then, there is a deleted scene. I guess I should play it now. But no, I'll play it after I tell you some other stuff. Okay. First of all, the location of the smallest park is in Studio City, California, which is like right in the middle of Los Angeles, which is also Studio City is where the CBS Radford studio is, which is where all like the interior parks stuff is shot, that lot. But it says that it's in the northwesternmost parking space of the Valley Stores shopping center in Studio City. And it says that it can be found next to the property located at 4378 Craft Avenue in Studio City. So if anyone wants to drive by the smallest park in LA, you can.
There you go.
And Ben is like, okay, none of this is happening. Like, all these things, like he just immediately so easily shuts it down. He's like, none of this stuff is going to happen, so we're good, right? And everything breaks it down. We're not a dream team. Certain people are steamrolling everything, steamrolling her team, steamrolling me. We shouldn't work together. And it is really sad when Chris said, like, wow, that's like a lot of negative words.
Yeah. And he's just so oblivious to what's going on. You know?
Oh, yeah,
Chris.
That's true. He is.
Because he's just like, dream team. He's just so excited, you know? And I love the acting of Ben tying the ribbon while he's talking.
Me too.
Because it just shows how fed up he is and how rehearsed it is because he said it so many times to her. Now it's like, I'm just going to say the same thing over and over as I'm doing this other thing because it sounds like he's almost ranting to himself.
Right.
It's just really... It's so well done by Adam Scott, and I think it packs a punch because he's not making eye contact with Leslie either.
Right. Leslie's face is perfect, though, while she's listening to this. Like, she's definitely... Like, she's not even... I don't know. She's not even sad. She's more of... Again, she's still in her steamrolling phase, so she's more of just like, what the fuck? Like, mad? You know what I mean?
She looks like her ideas are turning as to what does she do now. Yeah. Because, okay, well, he's about to cut the ribbon, so the park is going to be open. So what's my next play? Play?
That's so true. Yeah. She's not even thinking about like, oh, I fucked up. She's like, what's next?
Yeah.
You know?
Right. Yeah. Because she's heard this before. It's not. Yeah.
And she's always had to pivot. So
also, this is my problem. We're cutting a ribbon on a park that's literally shattered concrete. You guys.
I know, it's not even cute looking.
Like, it's really not cute.
It's not. I don't think that that's what also I was thinking too. They didn't break ground on it yet. You know, he's like, oh, look, the park is open. And I'm like, it's not though.
Yeah, it's really not
done.
Because they had cute, in the very first scene, they have really cute like architecture plans going on about what it's going to look like. So,
but maybe that's also like part of the story where Ben's like, it's not done, but we're done. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So I'm cutting this fucking ribbon and we're saying bye. You know?
Yeah. Oh, that's a really good point. Like, I know we haven't even finished this project, but I'm finished with this project. Wow. Crazy. It's cutting a ribbon on their relationship and him being done, not the actual park.
Yep. Wild.
Yeah. Deep.
Well, I wanted to play this deleted scene really fast. Leslie actually brings in a bunch of people, like the citizens, and said, sorry for bringing you into this protest. It wasn't right. And I thought that I could cut it down, but I think it's longer. It's not like super long, but it's just like, you know, it's probably like 2 minutes instead of like the usual 40 seconds.
Right.
So I'll just play this.
owe you all an apology for pushing you into this protest. But I think this park is very special, and I think it's more than just a simple patch of grass. And I would like your help in designing it. Joe, I have a book for you. It's called Bright Lights, Little City, or You Light Up My Life, a celebratory history of Pawnee's lighting structures, written by Leslie Knope.
It's like 400 pages long.
Yes, it lists every lighting structure the Parks Department has in storage. Is there anything in there that you like?
This one's okay, I guess.
The Madison Auto Lighter, converted gas lamp and a true classic. Well chosen, Joe. Okay, now, why don't you browse through Flora She Explored, Leslie Knope's Guide to the Beautiful Flowers in Pawnee.
Flowers are pretty.
That's really it.
I love it.
And also, it was really funny. She says, "Good job, Joe," and she looks at the camera and she's like, ew, he made a wrong decision.
Yeah.
But it's really funny. Okay, wait. So this might answer my question. I have to Google stuff now, because she just said Joe, and the last guy who I thought had Lou as his name. So. Let me go at Joe. Okay, Joe is Jeff Holman. Okay, great.
Yay.
Great.
Answered question.
So Joe is Jeff Holman. Jeff Holman is the one that messaged me back that was in that deleted scene that said the thing at the at the Citizens Public Forum. Yes. And was the one that was like, there's tons of events on this flyer. Like, what? We didn't even talk about the fireworks. And, they start at 10 or they start at midnight. Who knows how long they'll go. Okay, that's good. That leaves my question. I don't know who the hell Paul Sizemore is. That's the other guy. So, Paul, message me.
Could Paul be the guy who was walking his dogs?
Who was walking his dogs?
Right at the beginning of the scene when they come to complain to her, there's dogs peeing on the smallest part.
Oh, maybe. Okay.
That's the only person I can think of.
I know, because Jeff Holman, a.k.a. Joe, who we just heard from, is in all of those scenes. Like, it's not another person. So I'm very intrigued. And usually when it's listed, it's weird. I've been having some discrepancies with the deleted scenes, and this is so like behind baseball or whatever it is. But like, I've been having some problems because was it last time? I think it was last time there was a deleted scene with the lady, but she wasn't on IMDb. And now there's somebody who's on IMDb who I don't see in the deleted scene. So maybe you're right. Maybe it is some random person that doesn't have lines or something.
Yeah. Who knows?
Anyway, we'll maybe talk about it later. But for now, Jeff Holman is who we are really talking to.
Yes.
So. All right. Okay. So after that, now we are at Andy and April registering for women's studies, but he finds out that it's $940, which college is too expensive. Don't even get me fucking started.
Well, this is the community college, right?
Mm-hmm.
So, yeah, it's that's why I stopped my master's.
It's crazy.
Yeah, how expensive it was. It's like it's not worth it.
And April's like, I'll just get my parents to pay for them. And that is embarrassing. So he's like, no, whatever. I really love this clerk at the college. I don't know if you noticed, but like when they step away to talk about it, she's like staring after them like, what are you doing? It's really funny to me.
I love it. I also love that he says 1 ticket for women, please.
Oh my God. I know. Like, what? The gal who plays this clerk is played by Melissa Jo Bailey and has been in a bunch of things. She's been in 911 Lone Star, which Rob Lowe is in, The Christmas Dance, the 2017 Twin Peaks, which is a TV show, I think based on the same movie. I don't know, but she's in that show. And she's also in the show called I Love That For You, which is a show with Vanessa Bayer on Amazon. So yeah, she's done a bunch of stuff. So yeah, she did great. I was really happy with her. Yeah,
I think it's very perfect for the role.
And then Andy is like, I'm just going to beg for money like a drug addict. That's it. I feel this whole episode, he's just so confident in the stupidest things, which is totally Andy, but I just feel like these ones are just funny.
Yeah, and I think he gets overly, this is typical Andy, that he gets overly excited about something, and then his solution is like, oh, buddy, there are different solutions. Like, we went too far.
Yeah, too far the other way.
Yeah.
Well, this next scene is really eye-opening and so lovely to see with Anne and Leslie.
Yeah, and I think we get a background vision into Anne and Leslie's relationship, and that Anne, she still hasn't really found her voice because she lets Leslie steamroller. You know, so I think that's an interesting look-see into it too. But I'm proud of Anne for stepping up and being like, "No, you steamroll me all the time." Like, and that's a good point. Like she makes, well, I don't want you to get white wine because it gives you a headache. Yeah, but it's my headache. I'm the one that gets to choose if I'm going to order it or not. You know?
And I think it's really interesting. Again, I'm skipping ahead, but I think it relates here of when she talks about the cheesecake and eating an entire cheesecake or whatever. But like why Anne does it is also really important of like Leslie's done so much for me, and also everything she does is perfect anyway. So it's like, it's kind of a win-win, but I also lose at the same time.
Right.
So it's like, it's a tricky relationship with someone like Leslie, which I think is, I run into this quite frequently but I don't think Leslie cares so much. I care about reciprocation a lot of the times of like, if I'm doing this a lot, and even like with being honest with me and challenging me and things like that. But I don't know if Leslie cares as much. I feel like she just wants you to be friends and she doesn't care if you like are friends with her or not. You know what I mean?
Yeah. Well, it kind of comes back. I think you said it earlier. Like she doesn't care what Anne has to say to challenge her because she's already made up her mind and just wants somebody to agree with her. And you're not like that. Yeah.
Yeah. So, I mean, there are definitely times I've had like that. I do this especially with my mom, I feel, where I'm always like, she'll tell an idea and I'm just like, I don't want to do that. I think I've made up my mind. She's like, you already knew. Then why'd you talk about it?
Sometimes we just need to talk it through. Sometimes
that is true. Sometimes you really need to hear somebody say the other thing so you can decide what you don't want to do. You know?
Yeah. And I think
this one, oh, go ahead.
Sorry, there's just sometimes that it's good. And I mean, you do this too, like where it's like, am I here to listen or am I here to give advice? Like that's something too, like, you know, it's really beneficial because sometimes you don't know. I don't know yet.
Yeah.
I just need to vent about this and get it out there.
Totally.
So
I think that's a really smart thing to do for a lot of friendships of like, am I here right now for, support, or do you actually want the feedback? Because I think a lot of people don't understand that like they're technically asking for feedback, but then when they get it, they're like mad at you. You're like, well, you asked, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
But for this purpose in particular, I do think that it's important that even if Leslie said, you know, I want just support, like the feedback is more important, because this is something that, like we've talked about with Ben too, they've discussed it so much. And you do get frustrated with Leslie. Like she keeps cutting Anne off at every single turn, and Anne's trying to get her like thoughts out. And Anne is also like trying to give Leslie the benefit of the doubt, especially at the beginning in the courtyard where she's like, I think you know what you need to do. And then Leslie just like slaps it right out of her hand essentially.
Yeah.
But I really love this. I also love the line of everything in my life is going wrong. Who is to blame? I demand to know. And it's so good. It's like so lovely sometimes to see like from the outside perspective, just in a TV film moment of like, you're the one to blame, Leslie. Because we do this all the time. Everybody's guilty of that, I think, at some point where you're just like, what's wrong? Who should I blame about this? Who did this to me? And it's you.
Yeah.
You know?
95% of the time it's you.
Yeah. And Anne is like, and sometimes it's not, but you know, whatever.
Yeah.
For this one it is. And Anne's finally like, yes, you're a steamroller. And she like shouts at her because that's what she has to do. And finally Leslie's like, okay, I know I do this, but like Ben says he wants to be left alone. So I guess that's what I need to do. But like, is it okay? Like, is it going to be okay? And that's the part I think that is so scary for a lot of people to like make those choices and changes, is like you actually have no control whether it's going to be okay or not.
Right. Yeah. And you have to come to terms with it, because I think if she had noticed this two episodes ago, that this is what he really needed, and she was respectful of it, they could have gotten to a place where they could have been friends again.
Yeah.
But I think he's just so over it, and he can't really trust that she's going to be able to respect the boundaries.
Yeah. And I also wonder, I wrote in my notes, like, I wonder how far Leslie would have gone if it weren't for Anne. You know what I mean?
Holy shit. That's real.
Friendships are definitely necessary in that case.
Oh my gosh. Yeah.
This steamroller is rolling up the little rolly thing on the front, the roller, whatever it's called.
Probably a roller.
Yeah, that sounds right. All right. Well, now Jerry's getting Tom a pick-me-up sandwich, and it's very depressing. Also, side note, they've mentioned the cafeteria many a time, and we still have not seen it. I don't think we ever see it, and I would really like to.
We never see the inside. We see the outside in Jerry's retirement.
Really? When?
Yeah, because he wants a picture in there for some reason, but Leslie can't get him in.
So there's like two different rooms though, right? Like one's for
I
city
guess
council.
you're right. That one's
and
like
one's
the
like
VIP
the commissary cafeteria, if you will, like for everybody.
So we never see either of those, the inside of either of them.
Yeah, because Ron's talking about these hamburgers that are really good that he likes, and now Jerry's talking about these sandwiches, and I'm just like, where is this place?
Yeah.
But anyhow, this is where I wrote, why is Donna not getting any lines? I'm so upset.
Yeah.
And then this is where Jerry says, do everything the exact same way, and I'm just like, oh my God, no.
Yep. No growth if we're doing it that way.
Exactly. But this is where, there's a little bit of a pivot / turnaround. Jerry shows Tom his old ID card, and then Tom gets an idea. But I don't think I actually noticed until this watch through of me analyzing, that Jerry's ID card is the same font that Tom ends up picking for the rebrand. Did you notice that?
Yeah, it's exactly the same. He basically is just bringing back everything that was there in the 70s.
Yeah, which is the total exact reason why he does it. But I don't know why I didn't notice that. I just thought that he got the idea of like, oh, you've been here since the 70s. Like, let's go ahead and do nostalgia. But I didn't realize it's the same exact font. Mm-hmm. Side note, his card says Gary Gergich.
Yes.
And that he's the office manager.
Oh.
What?
That's not his current job, though.
I don't think so, because
Donna's the office manager.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So I'm just like,
Interesting.
I don't know what his job is now. Maybe he's like administrator or something.
Who knows?
Or he went down from office.
You're right. Could be.
Oh, God.
Could be.
But anyhow, Andy took a second job back at the shoe shine stand to get more money for his education. April's trying to sell the CDs and candy bars and shoe shines for $50, $100, and she took $100 from Kyle's wallet, and which is played by our friend Andy Forrest, so you can go back and listen to that episode as well.
Poor Kyle.
But then Ron comes up and says that 2 calls came unimpeded. Like, what is happening? Why is April gone from her desk?
Why are you not here?
I know. And Ron offers to pay for Andy's college with the Ron Swanson scholarship.
Yeah. Which Andy's like, I didn't apply for that.
Yeah. Like, I didn't, what?
But it's so sweet. I think Ron doesn't have his kids of his own right now. And he's like, I see somebody trying to better themselves. And this is a good way for me to use my money. And I think it's beautiful.
Yeah, and we talked about this in the last episode too, where you're really seeing Ron get closer to his workplace proximity associates, if you will.
Yes.
Last episode, he really fought for Tom to come back. Like, he kept, asking him what he could do, and like kind of fucking with him as far as like hiring these random people or interviewing these random people. And I just thought it was really interesting that he's now stepping more so. I mean, we always knew him as a mentor, especially for Leslie, but I think for other people, we didn't really see that as much. And so now he's turning into like this caring, fatherly mentor figure, boss man. And it's really lovely to see.
It is. I love it.
All right. Well, yeah, Andy's being dumb. I don't think I applied, but then he did, and then he hugs him and stop this. Love it. All right. Well, now we're at where Anne goes to Ben to see if Ben will talk to Leslie, and Ben's like, no, I can't do it, whatever. And Anne's like really on her behalf saying, Leslie's really tried to change, and also I don't have like free texting or whatever, and when she can't text you, she texts me, and it's like all of these texts, which is
you see that old ass
insane. Phone? You said what?
You see that old ass phone?
I know, old technology, man.
Yeah, where it's like all the messages are their own in like message. Does that make sense? Whereas now I click Holly Constant, I see all of our stuff, and that back then it was individual. Like,
yes,
oh my gosh,
that's so funny. That's
so
true.
much. But I really waffled back and forth with Anne here, where it was like, you're almost throwing Leslie back into the lion's den that you're, and Ben, because he's made it clear, right? Like, but I do get her sentiment where it's like, she's trying to change. Can we have some sort of, I feel like she's almost asking for some sort of closure thing for Leslie, rather than asking him to like give them a chance. It's like she's ready to listen to you now. And so can you just let that closure happen?
Yeah, and I think it had to come from both of them. Like, Anne could say that as much as she wants, but I don't think Ben would have believed it or like gone to the park if it wasn't for Leslie only leaving one voice message to show that she actually has changed,
Yeah, Absolutely.
So I totally get that. And then this is where we talk about the cheesecake and all that stuff. But now I'm at where Tom is presenting his ideas to Chris, if you are.
Yes.
And we've got this whole like nostalgia moment and the font that was used back in the 70s. And it is a great idea. I think it's great. We see Tom using his business/dreamer ideas to really benefit like his current job. And I think that's great.
Yeah. And I think he has a great point where he's like, parents are going to see this and want to relive their childhood, and kids are going to be like, just think it looks really cool. And we're going to sell stuff. Like he's looking for a profit here too, which is really cool. I would totally buy one of those sweatshirts.
All the swag.
Yeah. For sure. So I think this is really well done. And I can't believe he gives credit to Jerry. He does list him as his number 4 because now Donna's there. So it's like we're going to move him down another notch. But
oh my God.
But I do love that he gives Jerry some credit there.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. I mean, yeah, if it wasn't for that ID card, I guess he wouldn't have had that information.
Yeah.
But Chris says it's the best idea in 100 years. And I thought it was really funny because I was like, honestly, that could be true.
Yeah. In the Parks Department, yeah.
Most of the credit goes to my number 4. Yep. Which, honestly, it doesn't. But that's okay. That was nice of him, like you said.
Yeah.
Okay. Now we're at the best scene of all time.
Yes. How did this park happen, Holly? I'm so obsessed with this.
Who did it?
Cracked concrete that all of a sudden is beautiful flowers and
honestly,
bench.
Honestly, I mean, again, this is not canon, but my idea is that Leslie did it.
You could be very right.
I feel like she did the entire thing. Maybe she had some of the, maybe that deleted scene when she had all the public forum people like choose the light and fixtures and the flowers or whatever. They helped her too. I don't know. That's what I'm going to imagine.
Yeah.
But it looks so beautiful. It's so cute. This wonderful little beautiful area of flowers and this cute little bench and stepping stones and the super green grass. I love it.
It's lovely. Love it.
And this is where we finally see the illustration of Leslie owning up to what she's been doing. She's not considerate. She's sorry. And if he doesn't want, I think this is so important. She's like, if you don't want any contact with me, like, I finally understand. And I love that he says this because it's so true. He doesn't want that. It's just for the best. Like, he doesn't want to not be with her, but like,
it's a need, not a want.
It's like, if we can't be together, I can't do it. It's just too hurtful. And I think that's so important to say because I think that she, to a certain degree, might think that, that he just doesn't want to be with her at all. Like, right. But he's not being an ass because he wants to just avoid her. It just hurts too much,
Yeah. And I think that almost gives her the power that she needed to say what she says next.
And I love Amy Poehler's performance here. It's the best. I can't.
It's so vulnerable.
It's so vulnerable.
Yeah. And she and Leslie usually comes across so strong and confident. And I don't think she's questioning what she's saying. She's questioning what Ben's response is going to be. And just that look in her face of like, I don't know what's going to happen, but I have to say this is just so beautiful.
Again, which goes back to like, you don't know if it's going to be okay, but I have to do something. You know what I mean? And so that's when she says like, or we could just, because he walks away and they've kind of come to their conclusion, but she's just like, nope, can't do it. Which again proves like friendship is not going to work for her. But she was like, we could just say screw it and do this thing for real. And he says like, it would be a scandal. We'd have to tell Chris. Like, and she just keeps like shutting it down. Like this time kind of sort of steamrolling, but in a good way where she's like, yeah, I know. I understand like what you're saying, but like we could do this. And I think it's so interesting because in the last episode, we talked so much about like Chris made this really good point that it's like when she has to do her campaign stuff at the Model UN, like he will always come second in the previous episodes. He always came second, regardless of like how much she wanted him to come first. She had to go do her campaign stuff. So can you just tread water? Like I have to go, do like go get gifts for my campaign people. Like, can we just like postpone this? So like you kind of see where Ben's coming from. And like, that's what it feels like. That's what she was doing. And now she's like such a twist because she's like, I do want to put you first, or like we can do both at the same time, which is really, I mean, how it's worked in the past anyway, like bringing him in with her kind of thing. And like we can figure out the campaign and us together kind of thing. Right. But I thought that was really such an interesting analytical perspective, maybe too much, but like you came second so many times before this and I steamrolled you. And now you're like literally cutting the cord. And I can't handle that.
Well, and
so you're going to come first or like equal.
Yeah. And I think while it looks like it could be equal, I think there's a big part of herself that had to be ready to put him first because she could come out with this and the campaign could be done.
Yeah.
Right?
That's really true.
It was worth the risk for her.
Yeah.
And I think
100%.
that's got to mean so much.
And that's what she said at the beginning too, where like when they were hiding their relationship, she was like, it's worth the risk if I could be with you. And so now she's finally like, let's just
Put
do
in
this for real and
actions.
stop fucking around. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Which is what we all wanted. We're just like, oh my God, finally.
It's
Anyway,
happening.
It's so cute. And then I love this question. I mean, regardless of whether she knew he was going to kiss her or not, she was just like, this is how I feel. How do you feel? I love that question. And I have tried to take that with me to a lot of things. And sometimes I'll do it in text messages if I don't hear a response or if like someone didn't answer my question, they just kind of round about it. I'm just like, but that's how I felt. Like, what do you think about that? And I just love that direct question. And then he kisses her and it's so perfect. And that's his answer. And it's the moment we've been waiting for. And it was the last episode of the whole, or last scene of the whole episode. And we're just like, finally.
Yes. Oh, so well done. And I think you have a great point with the question. Like, just, it's such a beautiful, blunt question. But the fact that she's also giving him space to talk and give his answer.
100%.
Just, yeah. And you're right. That the kiss, just the look in his eye when he like storms over to her, and it's so good.
Beautiful.
I'm so glad we're done with the drought.
Oh my God.
I feel like it lasted forever.
I know, it felt like it lasted forever, but it was probably only like 4 episodes, which like but still it's like a month.
Yeah. It's a long time.
Right. Well, and also, I mean, I do think, and luckily we don't have to know this answer, but I do think that she was in a space where like if he said this after this is how I feel, how do you feel? And if he said like, I just can't do it, I think she'd obviously be heartbroken and upset.
Right.
But I think she would have been like, okay, I hate this for us, but okay. You know what I mean?
Yeah. Yeah.
Which I think is important because I do this all the time. And my mom is really good at asking me questions like this, where if I, like, say I want to quit or say I'm about to email somebody something and like I know what I want to hear, but like she'll be like, well, what if they say the other thing? You have to be prepared for that too. And I think that's really important.
Oh, yeah. 100%. And I think that's the first time she was ready to go in with that. And I think a lot of it had to do with her not knowing where he was anymore. Because she just felt so disconnected from him because he just pulled himself out, right? Yeah. It was like, I've got to lay it all out there and be willing to hear his side because I don't even know where he is right now emotionally.
Yeah. Yes. So good. Okay. So we will discuss their relationship as it goes on because that's a whole other can of worms. But for now, they're together and it's great.
Yes. And we love it.
Which fucking sucks because technically... again, I'm skipping ahead, but whatever. Technically, he's going to make such a huge sacrifice for her for this campaign, And so but at least they did it together, I feel. I mean, and by together, I just mean like they were in this together and she didn't want him to do that. You know what I mean?
Yep. 100%. And the next episode has a lot going on in it too, to kind of continue to round this out and how everything's going to look moving forward. Yeah,
totally. Okay. Well, the last part of the episode is where Andy's going to class. Andy forgot his books and his computer, but Ron drops him off, which is really cute, and just says, just pay attention and have fun,
Yeah, I love it.
And I think I'm learning about Ron, too. I didn't realize, I don't know why. I think when I've watched this in the past, I've been like, oh, he didn't go to college. He had to go to the steel mill. But really, his dad dropped him off at the steel mill, but then he went to college, and he did it himself,
Yeah.
I thought that was cool.
Self-made man.
And to be completely honest, I know that I don't know how people feel about this, but in my personal opinion, I don't think Andy's points are like terrible, like about teaching women football and fighting and empowering prostitution. Like, sex work is work, but like it's just his execution of the.
Well, and it sounds like it's the first day, and it sounds like she hasn't even started her lecture. So,
well, it's funny. There's a deleted scene that explains that the professor is asking who would like to summarize today's class, and Andy volunteers. And there's a legit 2-minute, like after she asks that, it's like 2 minutes of Chris Pratt just rattling off all of this fucking information and just random ass stuff, and like it gets weirder, and like I could totally see him like improvising that whole 2 minutes. But yeah, that's kind of how that started, but I'm glad that they left in what they left in because the other stuff was just like too much.
Yeah. Editing, anyway, a beautiful thing.
I do love that he tried to like show up and comb his hair, and he tried to look nice.
Look good, and he's participating.
He's trying to participate. I just love that she does it so well. She's like, that's extremely incorrect.
Yeah.
But
yeah, I thought it might be when I was saying it.
I know, that's what I was going to say. But he does not like take offense to it. He's just like, okay, I'll get him next time. That's fine.
Yeah, which I love.
I do too. Oh my
man.
God.
Oh, Andy.
Well, that's all I've got for Smallest Park.
Same here. What a great episode.
Cute. Yes, great episode. We love it. I don't even feel like I need to mention them, but I did read a review on IMDb that was like, this is the worst episode. Like, Leslie's so unbearable. I'm just like, you clearly haven't been paying attention.
Yeah.
Like, you know what I mean? You're being so dumb because she redeems herself. And also, like, do you even understand anything about anything?
Yeah. We were also cringing, but look at how she fixed it.
Yeah, come on. Anyhow, so Smallest Park, great episode. Next, we have the trial of Leslie Knope, which is really interesting, and I'm really looking forward to doing some deep dives on maybe some laws that are still around that should not be. I just thought about that the other day. But yeah, and then we'll see some more stupidness of Chris, but I do understand at his, like, to a certain extent for him too. Yeah. Especially because they keep calling it Chris's rule, but it's not Chris's rule. It's like a government rule. You know what I mean? So like that sucks.
Yeah. But you do have some moments where you're like, oh, fuck, Chris.
No. Yeah. Shut up. But anyway, so, well, if anyone has any questions, let us know. But yeah, I'm just, hopefully I can retroactively, people can send us thoughts that the SAG strike is over soon.
Yeah.
They met this week and then they're meeting again next week. So, you know, hopefully it'll move forward.
Fingers crossed.
Fingers crossed. Okay, everyone. Well, I think that's all I have. Oh, I know. One last thing is that Amy Poehler, oh my God. Amy Poehler has a new podcast out. Did you know this?
Yeah, I saw you post about it.
Oh my God. The Queen has an improvised podcast. It's only like 30-ish minutes and it's with these other improvisers. She plays a therapist and I think they must have like some sort of outline or something of how they want the episode to like maybe go. But honestly, I don't even know if they do that. I'm just thinking that maybe they're such great improvisers that they just do that. But it's like a couples therapist. And there's the first one had Anna Gasteyer from SNL and Mean Girls. Oh no, I forgot his name, but he was also on SNL and they've had a bunch of like really cool people on there. So I'm really excited to see where that goes. It's so fun. And it's with, I think her producer / like writing partner is doing it with her, Liz Kukowski, who also wrote Wine Country.
Oh, beautiful.
So good
cool.
Times ahead.
Yes. Oh,
I'll post that in the show notes as well.
Yes, for sure.
All right, everybody. Well, have a good week. Did you have anything else, Maddie?
No, I'm just looking forward to the trial of Leslie Knope.
Okay. All right, guys. Have a good weekend, whatever, and we'll see you next time.
Talk to you soon.
There's a park and some pals, and there's also therapy too.